All right, so the album that we are going to be discussing today is the brand new Ice Spice record, Y2K. Y2K is the debut studio album by American rapper Ice Spice. It was released on July 26, 2024. The name of the album is a reference to her being born January 1st, 2000. So, Eric, your thoughts on this debut album by Ice Spice?
So is this her first album?
Yes, her debut album, debut
Her
studio
debut
album.
album.
It's not
Debut.
her
Yeah,
like
debut.
first set of music. She has an EP out before this, and
Oh,
then
okay.
obviously like
Okay.
single songs. But this is the first studio album.
I just wanted to make sure I heard that right because I'm on Apple Music. It doesn't list it as an EP. It lists it as like the other album as an album.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So, not that I went to go listen to it, just to clarify. So, I I don't know where to start with this. Um, so
Okay,
I actually did research on this album
okay.
because there was one thing that was driving me insane, but I don't want to talk about it just yet. Um, I will talk about the positives. Okay. I thought it was well produced. It was like it sounds good in terms of like the quality. Quality sounds good. The name, I actually understand the name. You were born in 2000, cool. Y2K. That's like a reference because I remember back in that time as a kid, I remember all over the news. It was like, this is the end of the world, everybody. Like the computers are all going to shut down, right? Remember that?
Yep, yeah, yeah. It's crazy.
Yeah. It was nuts. Like people were like getting liquor and ammo and they were just like hunkering down, you know? Um I appreciated appreciated the like the people that she had on there, like the guests, I should say, like Travis Scott, Gunna, which I think is a terrible name for a person, and Central C. Like I felt like they were more like interesting to listen to
Okay, yeah,
than
yeah.
Ice Spice. I thought her lyrics were very like, how do I put this? Like juvenile, like in the sense that it was like a toddler in the grocery store yelling penis over and over and over again, and you're like, okay, it was funny the first few times, but now it's just like embarrassing. So and I mean that in the way because she really like sexualizes herself
Hmm.
unnecessarily, which find right because then you have like Margot Price, who's very like intelligent with her like lyrics and how she writes her music, whereas this is like I'm going to sell this album with my body, and it just I just don't like that because it's like where's your backbone, you know? Now maybe that's my dad coming out because I have a daughter. So maybe that's why I'm just like, oh god. But I just was not interested. Like I just felt the lyrics were very like I felt like I got like a toddler to write this that knew a bunch of bad words. And it was
Mm,
just like, listen to this, like write me some bad words in slang and we'll make a song out of it. I didn't really like actually to be honest any of the songs on this album.
whoa. Okay. Okay.
The one thing that, and I will go back to where this actually drove me insane. So, I was actually trying to listen to the lyrics and be like, okay, is there like a theme to this? Which I don't think there is any. But I noticed, which was interesting, and I will tell you this. It's story time, ladies
Oh
and
no.
gentlemen.
Oh no.
I'm listening to it, and I notice halfway through the album, I'm like, she always says this, and I'll tell you what I thought originally she was saying. She was saying, "Why do you got to do that to him, Brian?" And I was like, "Who the fuck is Brian?" So I look it up, and I'm like, I'm not finding anything. So
No,
then
there's no Brian.
I find out that the lyric is actually, "Why do you got to do that to him, Riot?" Which is
Right.
the
Yeah.
recording company, which is like, oh, it's like an advertisement within the
Yeah.
song
Yeah. It's a
for the
tag.
recording company. It's a tag.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that is so annoying. It's just so fucking like it's just like you can't just have a song like if I was to buy this album, if I was to buy it, I'd be pissed because I'd be like, "You're shoving down Riot Studios down my throat." I don't give a shit about Riot Studios. I bought the album to listen to Ice Spice, right? And that's where I have an issue with because it's
I
like
think
watermarking like an image, right?
you're so old. It's so funny. Just one correction there. Riot is the producer,
The producer.
not an
Okay.
entity or a production company.
Okay.
As a producer, but
Still,
the same
my
concept. The
point
same
still
concept.
applies.
Yes.
Yes.
I think I'm a little bit more forgiving of that, although it was sort of annoying. But it's like that. It's like that Jason Derulo thing, right? Where a lot of like hip hop R&B just start like saying their name in the songs, and it's like their catchphrase essentially. So I sort of treat it like that.
Mm,
As like it's sort of part of the culture for better or for worse. So you sort of have to just live with it, where it's just like self-advertising in their songs, which to a certain extent sort of works because everyone knows Jason Derulo, even though you can't name a freaking song by him. Um, or DJ Khaled, where he just like screams out his name like in every song, but like what has he actually written? I don't know.
See, I think that's more clever though, but like because it's like this is who I am. Like I'd have more respect if she said Ice Spice. Like, why do you got to do that to them, Ice Spice? Right? But like just having the producing company, I'm just like I'm trying to listen to the music and it's just like this advertisement that pops up halfway through the goddamn song, right? I'm already pissed off that fucking Netflix, excuse my language, and Prime, if you don't get the top tier version, you
Right,
get these advertisements within your stuff. And I'm like, I don't want this.
right.
Give me what I'm want to listen to.
Yep, yeah. No, chasing dragonflies is right. A lot of rappers do that. But yeah,
Mm,
it's sort of part of the culture. I don't
okay.
particularly like it. I do agree with you; it is annoying, but it's not like this is the first time they're doing it. It's just
Okay.
it's been like this forever.
Well, this is the first time I'm hearing this.
Yo,
So
this is
this
not
is
early
all
90s.
new to me.
Um, no, I do agree with you on the lyrical front. It's very, and it's sort of reflected in the timings of the songs. They're all like 2 minutes. Like I think one of the songs is a minute something, just like a
Mhm.
minute 58 or something like that. Like nothing gets close to 3 minutes. So like a lot of these songs are very. I sort of agree with the juvenile aspect of it. I just don't think the songwriting is at a level where you can consider it a full song.
Mhm.
But I did like some of the songs for the most part. I think it hit an energy that a lot of maybe the younger generation is into, and I think even for us when we were younger, like a lot of the
Mhm.
music that we listened to, it was about like the feeling that you get from the actual music rather than like the actual lyrical content or like what they're actually
Mhm.
saying. I think we were listening to Rage Against the Machine because it was angry and it was aggressive. Not
Mhm.
so much that Zach De La Roca was talking about genocide and like, politics and things like that.
That's fair. We had no idea what it meant.
Yeah,
We
like
loved it.
fuck
Yeah.
Wall Street. Oh yeah, as an
Mm.
8-year old, you're just like, yeah, fuck Wall Street.
Yeah, screw that street. Why do we want it anyway? Yeah.
So I think this
Mm.
album, from that context, especially because it's a debut album, I think it at least hits that energy level. A lot
Mm.
of the simplicity of it, and it's interesting in terms of the sound to me because I don't hear it a lot in American hip hop, but it sounds very British to me. Because
Yes.
yeah, because a lot of the sound, it's like a drill hip hop brand. So like this, and I'm probably wrong about this, but like this is the first album I've listened to where an American artist is trying to copy what someone in Europe is doing in terms of the hip hop front.
So that's my question. So obviously she's American,
Yes.
correct?
Yeah.
Okay, because I like the first song and going into the second one, I'm like, is she English? Is like this English hip hop? And I was
Right.
very confused because it almost sounded like she was like that very Cockney, like British
Yeah.
accent.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
right? So I'm like, is she British and she's just famous in the like I was very confused with that. So I'm glad that you clarified that for me
Yeah,
because
it's interesting because like I obviously like the European or at least the British hip hop is coming from a different influence or at least a different sound, and it's just interesting that now the Americans are copying that,
Mm,
which I found interesting. It's like, oh, we've gone full circle now where it's like the Americans are copying what the British are doing in terms of rock and roll, right?
yeah, and then they even did it with blues music too. Like if you think
Yeah,
about like Eric Clapton, the Yardbirds.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, the Brits took from the Americans and then the Americans took it back from the Brits. It's like very similar to like that timeline,
Mm,
right?
mm,
But yeah, like lyrically, my favorite one is "Think You the Shit" and in brackets
mhm.
"fart." Like that is my favorite title. It's so good. It's like the most
Oh
nonsensical song
man.
in the world.
Oh man, I don't know. I as a father now, I just feel for whoever the father of this daughter is because I just like man, I don't know. Like it's okay if you do it. Like even the song WAP, I was just like okay, like this is a bit too much. Maybe I am old,
You are
Kim.
old. You
Maybe
are
I
old.
am old.
You are old.
But I just want to hear some but here's the thing though. Here's my argument,
Hmm.
right? Because you have somebody like Olivia Rodrigo, who's
Okay.
obviously in dealing with high school issues,
Right.
and which is very juvenile, but she writes her lyrics in a way
Relatable.
that are better. Because you're
Better.
like,
Yes. Yes.
as young as this sounds like, I get what she's saying and I respect it. Whereas this
Mm.
is just like, yeah, like I slept with this guy. Yeah, like, I shook my ass for him. And it's like, okay, cool.
This is
you
so
know?
funny. Chasing Dragonflies. I knew Olivia Rodrigo was going to come up. Yeah. I mean, like, I don't know if it's. I guess it's a fair comparison. They're sort of like in that same demographic where obviously Olivia Rodrigo like lyrically is just like, even though obviously we can't personally relate to what she's singing about, like the way she has written it makes it somehow relatable, or at least you can feel the emotions behind it. But I don't know if that's like what this I don't know if that's what Ice Spice is going for in this album.
Mhm,
It feels more to me just like party music. I don't know if that's like the right way to put
it's
it. But it's
yeah,
just to get people moving and get people in sort of a certain mindset or like at a certain energy level, and the rest of it, screw it. It feels very much like a Kiss record where it's just like as long as sonically it sounds good, forget
mm,
everything else, right? Um but yeah, I mean lyrically it's like complete nonsense, but
mm,
I did like sort of the energy of this record. I liked "Give Me a Light," the second last track,
mhm.
where they sampled Sean Paul, his famous song, but
Yes.
they slowed it down to like halftime, and I was like, "Where is this going?" And then she comes in at double time with her lyrics. I was like, "This is the most hyped thing I've ever heard. It's so good." It was like that's like just brilliant sampling. I just love that. Um,
Mm,
and then the one major thing I have with this is, and this goes not just for Ice Spice, but just in general, a lot of rappers, and to a certain extent, a lot of singers too these days. They're just punching in like everything. Like everything is so every single line that they're recording is so disjointed because they're just punching in sentence after sentence after sentence, or they're just
mhm.
splicing up like hundreds of takes together and just taking the best like words from each one, to the point where they have made a mistake on this record. I don't know, Eric, if you listened that closely to it. I assume you didn't because you didn't really like this record. But the last track, last track, TTYL, talk to you later. Around the 2 minutes, no, a minute and 40 or minute 30 mark, they have cut one word too short. if you listen closely, they have spliced it wrong, where her actual vocal take comes in late because they cut off the first consonant of the word. So like that is just over engineering like this whole thing, right?
Mhm.
And that's like the whole that's the whole record. It's just over engineered, over mixed, over produced, to the point where they made an actual mistake on the record.
That's insane. I did not catch that, but I'm gonna go back and listen
Yeah,
to
it's
that
it's the
because
last track on the album. Like,
yeah, the TTYL.
yeah, like at this level, you shouldn't be making those mistakes, right?
Mhm.
Like, and
Well,
it's one of those.
exactly, and that's interesting that you say that because I did felt like the sound quality was actually very well done.
Yeah,
Like it sounded like and with albums like this, like you said, like it is. Yes, I will agree with you. Like yeah, it's more of like that party
hmm
hype album. So maybe I gotta rein in on my review here. Uh, but but yeah, like you said, like a lot of punching, a lot of mastering, a lot of like
yep,
just vocal processing,
yep.
or like audio processing, I should say. So like to make a mistake like that, that's crazy.
Yeah, especially if you're gonna employ like 5, 6 mixers and producers and songwriters, like you shouldn't have mistakes like that on this record. It's not excusable.
No, no, exactly, especially for a debut album,
Yeah,
right? I'm surprised that they didn't catch that before because if I was Ice Spice listening to this, I'd be like, we got to fix that before this comes out,
yeah,
right? Especially if this is their debut.
yeah. But yeah, like overall, like you're. I'm obviously not going into this record thinking like, this is a lyrical mastermind. This isn't like a Nas or like a Rakim record.
And
This
that's
is
the
just a
thing.
debut album by a young kid, and it's really just about just hype, which to a
Mhm.
certain extent I'm okay with.
And that's the thing. Maybe my expectations are too high because of this podcast. Because for new listeners or listeners who haven't listened to the past episodes, like my introduction to hip hop, like thoroughly, has been this podcast and listening to like the Wu-Tang Clan or
Tribe.
Tribe Called Quest, which is by far my favorite. I don't think like it's just or not right, like Illmatic,
Oh,
right? And
so
it's
good,
just
so
you
good.
listen to these albums and then like I guess my expectations for hip hop are high.
Those are pretty
And
high plateaus to achieve. That's like
mhm.
asking for like Dark Side of the Moon every single time.
So unfortunately, Ice Spice, when I hear this album, I'm just like I am always comparing it to those
Right.
albums, and I'm like, and maybe that's the wrong thing to do, right?
um, but yeah, I mean, it's a short album. It's 23 minutes, somewhere there. It's very much designed to be this current generation short attention span, go viral, be like, this clip that people can use on TikTok for their
Mhm.
dances. Like it's designed very much like that, which I'm not crazy about. Like I always prefer the longer songs, the more fleshed out ideas, but at the same time, maybe the songwriting level isn't there just yet.
Mhm.
And the only ideas that can be that can come across have to be done in a minute because you can't expand further on it.
Mhm.
But anyways, Eric, final thoughts, ratings. What are you gonna give this album?
I mean, I think you actually gave me or convinced me, I should say, to give a higher rating
Okay, okay, okay.
than what I was going to give it. So
Were you gonna give it a 0?
I was going to give it a 1.
Wow.
um,
Okay.
but I'm going to put that up there because, like, with the, like, as annoying as that, like, why do you got to do that to him, Riot? As annoying, and I think I was more annoyed. Like I'd be fine if it was a catchphrase, but I was more annoyed that like when I actually researched it,
Mm.
that it's like, oh, it's an advertising thing. And then I'm like, because I hate maybe it's because I'm like I'm a minimalist now, and I'm just like, I hate fucking advertising. Like, just start shoving shit down my throat.
Yeah, yeah.
Right. So maybe that's why I was a little bit harsh on that. But you have convinced me to bring it up to a 4 out of 10.
Oh, that's a huge jump.
Hmm. A
Damn.
4 out of 10.
Okay. That's not
So
bad.
you make some very good points with like the party aspect. And maybe I was just so stubborn in my old age that I just stuck with
It's
that.
good. We're finding some middle ground here, you know?
I know.
Just finding some middle ground. That's great.
Absolutely.
We're building bridges.
Mhm.
Obviously, like, I'm never gonna be like, oh, yeah, you should listen to this if you want to get into hip hop. This is the album.
No,
I'm never gonna tell
I would
anyone
never recommend this. I'm never listening to this again.
that. There's a few like cool spots on this album. Like, I like some of the things that she was doing. But ultimately, I think it's still very early in the songwriting process, where I really think this could have benefited from a bit more time in terms of the songwriting. Like, a lot of the
Mhm.
ideas are just so surface level that it's really hard to like be like, oh yeah, this is my jam, right? Like, but I did enjoy it. I'm gonna give it a 5.
Mm.
I'm gonna give it a 5, just because, like, I don't know, it was a fun listen, and there were parts where I just like, oh, that's pretty cool what they did, but at the end of the day, it's like, it's an okay record. It's not something that is gonna change your
Mm.
world or be like, oh, I have to listen to more of this type of music. It doesn't inspire that much, but it was cool. It was cool for the listen, and for
Mhm.
23 minutes, I think it was worth the sit down. Good stuff. Good stuff, Eric. We're trying to
I
stay hip
am
with the kids, you know?
absolutely. Watch our. Well, I am hoping that somebody comments and just rips us apart on this because I am going to laugh so hard.
This
I'm
changed my
just
life.
gonna laugh.
This artist changed my life. This album changed
Yeah,
my life.
like you don't know what you're talking about, old man. We're probably going to be called boomers,
Yeah.
probably.
This is the voice of a generation. All right. Anyways, that's Y2K by Ice Spice. For those of you following along with us every single week, we have a question. Hold on. Chasing Dragonflies. Do you think Ice Spice is only famous because of her hair?
Yeah, because of redhead. I don't
Oh.
know. I think
No, she's famous because of Taylor Swift.
is she?
Yeah. She's famous because she's Taylor Swift's sidekick.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
She follows Taylor Swift everywhere.
Pump the brakes here. She follows her everywhere,
Yeah.
like a stalker, or like
No, an invited
or like
guest.
Taylor Swift is like, oh, Ice Spice is the best artist ever.
Yeah, Taylor
like
Swift
that?
is super into Ice Spice. She's always like hyping her up.
Are you serious?
Yeah. Ice
Oh,
Spice is the
man.
one that featured on Karma by Taylor Swift.
Really?
I can't believe you didn't know this. This is why we chose this album.
I didn't know this.
I wouldn't choose just
I
a
didn't-
random. There has to be like
hey,
something a little extra
I feel
than
like
just.
you're more hip with the kids than I am. Okay,
You can't
I'm
just
in my little
be.
hermit cave, and I come out for these podcasts.
You can't just be like, the new popular thing, and that's why we review you. You have to be the new thing and something.
And relevant.
Yeah, and
somehow
there's something interesting.
That is
something interesting.
So
about
Taylor
you.
Swift, one of the greatest artists, like the biggest artist of all time, has endorsed Ice Spice. That's what you're telling me right now? This is blowing my mind.
Yes.
This is actually blowing my mind. This is what she's endorsing.
Yeah. She was at the Super Bowl with Taylor Swift in the box.
I didn't watch that part because I didn't really care. But oh my god, that this is like my whole world is shattered right now.
Yes, Chasing Dragonfly. She was on Karma, so it's very much like the Kendrick Lamar Bad Blood one, where on the album Kendrick Lamar isn't on it, but on the bonus track Kendrick Lamar is on it. I think it's very similar to Karma, where Karma without Ice Spice is on the record, but the bonus track is with Ice Spice. But there's a music video. She's in the music video.
I know why she's endorsing Ice Spice. I figured it out.
Oh no. Oh
no. Oh no, it's right. It's because Kem.
I don't know.
It's because she knows that she's way better than Ice Spice. So she's keeping her around so people would listen to her, and she'll always be upping her.
I don't think that's how it works.
That's how it works. That's how it works in my mind.
I don't think that's how it works. Chasing Dragonflies, wouldn't you support your friends even if they were kind of trash? So this is different, right? Taylor Swift and Ice Spice, at least as far as I know, they weren't friends to start with. It's that Taylor Swift liked Ice Spice's like demo tapes and was just hyping her up on the side, and then that's how they became friends.
Interesting. See, wouldn't you support your friends even if they are kind of trash? I agree to a certain point, Chasing Dragonflies, because like if they sing like and it sounds like chalk screeching in your ears, like I think you got to say something for their own, like, hey, like, look, man, this is very hard for me to say because I or love you, or like your friend that's a girl, like, hey, like, look, like you need to like maybe not do this show. Right? I don't know. Like I would respect somebody maybe because I'm unique, and somebody could say, "Hey, you're fucking awful at this," and then I'd be like, "Oh, I didn't realize. Thank you for telling me." Maybe I'm just so cool with that kind of, upfrontness. But I realize not everybody's like that. So. But that's still my theory. She's keeping her around to put breaks.
Yeah.
This is getting out of control. This is getting out of control now.
Yeah, exactly. Chasing Dragonflies. As your friend, I just want to tell you, give up on your dreams. You're awful. Exactly. That's perfect.
Well, I wouldn't
perfect
say
way
it like
to put,
that.
Perfect way to put it.
I wouldn't.
That's
I
exactly
wouldn't say
how
it
I
like
should
that.
do it.
I'd be like, look, we should work on this before you decide to do this.
But yeah, like she is Taylor Swift's sidekick. Until she puts out an Illmatic or 36 Chambers, she will forever be known as Taylor Swift's sidekick.
I don't know. I'm not buying it. So, like after saying that, I want to change my rating. I want to deduct a point. I want to deduct a point, but I can't because it's already solidified. It's already solidified. We've already made the rating. So,
anyways, I'm surprised you didn't know that context. Like
I didn't know that.
A big reason why we chose this album. Anyways, that was our discussion on Y2K by Ice Spice. Let's move on. The album that we are going to be discussing next week, and I really should have researched how to pronounce this, but it is the brand new Smashing Pumpkins album, Agori Mori Mai. I will research it for next week. I'll research it for next week because I have no idea how to pronounce it. Billy Corgan and Co. are back. I'm gonna assume I'm gonna hate this album because I usually hate all Smashing Pumpkins albums, but we'll see.
My question is this gonna be worse than this album?
Ooh, no. That my prediction is no. I think the Smashing Pumpkins album, like as much as Billy Corgan's an asshole, at least he's like an accomplished songwriter.
Yeah, that's true.
Anyways, so yeah, the Smashing Pumpkins record, we will be discussing that next week. Thanks everyone for tuning in. This is the Crossroads Music Podcast. We are here live at twitch.tv/the Crossroads Music Podcast every Monday at 10 p.m. ET, 7 p.m. PT. Catch us on YouTube, Apple Music, Spotify, all the places where you get your podcasts. We sort of went off the rails there, but it's okay. Chasing Dragonflies, thanks for the raid again. And we will see you all next time.